Well. Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wat2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So the New York Jets grabbed their first win of the 2024 season, defeating the Titans in Tennessee by a 24-17 final. Today, we're going to recap the game. I'm going to break down the three key plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. I've also got a few key numbers. Going to recap my bold predictions as well and talk about kind of where I feel this team is heading into Thursday night's home opener against the also 1-1 New England Patriots, Seattle Seahawks. We thank you for that. But this first quarter felt like an overrun of Monday's game. Very rusty, a lot of mistakes, mental mistakes, lack of execution, whether it was the intentional grounding penalty by Aaron Rodgers, which led to a handoff for a loss of 2 yards. What Nathaniel Hackett was doing with some of this play calling, I have no idea. I thought some of the coverage in the secondary was not as good as it could have been. The crossing patterns were really tearing the Jets up early on in this game. I mean, that first Tennessee touchdown drive, 9 plays, 68 yards. That's almost 8 yards a play. And it was just a very ominous feeling. I was at Rally Point Grill down in Cary, North Carolina. Hung out with a good amount of Jets fans that were there, maybe about 25 or so. Had a fantastic time, met some great people there. It's good to have a good Jets community in my new home. But yeah, we had a very, very sick feeling on that touchdown. Now, it was early, but it just didn't feel like the Jets were all there. And then they go 3 and out, and then comes a pivotal drive in this game. And this is where the hope started to come in. Tennessee has the ball for 10 plays. It culminates with a 3rd and goal on the 6-yard line. And Will Levis is trying, it looks like he was trying for a shovel pass, I think is what he was trying to do. But he trips over willmcdonald, and more on willmcdonald later. He attempts the shovel pass. He trips, and the ball comes loose, and Quincy Williams comes up with it. You know, we have seen so many Jet teams that they might force a fumble, but they may not come up with it, and they sure did this time. And even though the Jets didn't really do anything on that offensive drive, it created, I felt, a little bit of doubt in the Titans' heads. You know, remember, this is a team last week against the Bears that really gave it away with turnovers, with mistakes, special teams errors, all that kind of stuff. And I felt if the Jets could create a little bit of doubt, they would have a very good chance to win this game. So the Titans get the ball back. First play on that drive is the long bomb for Treylon Burks, which Brandon Echols took away. That was the second takeaway of the game, the last one, and it was all that they would really need. And you really started to feel like Tennessee was going to let the Jets hang around. Jets just had to get the offense going. So this leads to my first key play of the game that you may not remember. This is on the Jets' first touchdown drive. There's 6:17 to go in the second quarter. They have a 3rd and 8 from their own 29, and Aaron Rodgers finds Allen Lazard, one of his 2 catches on the game, and this was the Jets' second first down of the game. Think about that. The Jets had 2 first downs over the first 24 minutes of action. Garrett Wilson was great on this drive, made 2 big-time catches. The drive culminates with the shovel pass. See, the Jets showed you how to do it. To Braelon scoring a touchdown, the first of 2 that he would accumulate on the day. And, man, how happy are you that the Jets drafted Braelon? You know, I was big on him. I wanted him on the Jets. I felt they needed a power back, and I am feeling very, very good about the draft pick. And also credit to Joe Tippmann and Elijah Vera Tucker with some very good blocking, which basically gave Allen the space that he needed. But then this is going to lead me to play number 2. Don't forget the end of the first half when the Titans were driving down the field, thanks in large part to an unnecessary roughness penalty on Chuck Clark, which put the ball pretty deep in Jets territory. With 20 seconds left, the Titans have the ball, 1st and 10 from the Jets 17. And even though the Jets were getting the ball to start the second half, I felt the Jets really had to make a stop. They had to hold the Titans to a field goal. And in shotgun, on first down, Solomon Thomas comes up big, drops Will Levis for a loss of 8, and that pretty much killed any momentum there. Tennessee has to settle for the field goal, and I got to tell you, the Jets being down only 3 points going into halftime, I was feeling really good. I mean, you think about some of the numbers in the first half. First downs in the first half. Jets had 7, Tennessee had 14. Rushing yards, Jets had 16. The Titans had 53. Penalties, the Jets took 7. Tennessee took 3. That's penalties, by the way, that were not declined or offsetting. But turnovers, Jets with 0, Tennessee with 2. And those were the things that kept the Jets in the game. It was really about the turnovers. So that leads me to the third play, the third key play, and this is on the Jets' very first drive of the second half. So my 3 key plays are on 3 consecutive drives, ironically. Jets have a 3rd and 15 from their own 25. Rodgers unleashes a long pass to Mike Williams. It's incomplete, but Justin Simmons, who wouldn't stop talking all game, hits Rodgers late. It's a roughing the passer penalty, and it extends the drive. After that, Breecehall runs for 30. Conklin, Rucker, Moses blocking beautifully there. Braelonallen runs for 4, and then a near delay of game, and the Jets have to take a timeout. This happened way too much today, where the Jets had several near delay of games or delay of game penalties. I don't know why that is so out of sync, but that has to get figured out and quickly. They were very fortunate it did not cost them. But here's the thing. One thing that we're learning with Aaron Rodgers, when you make a mistake like this, when you have a near penalty or something like that, if you have a negative play, it would kill drives in past years. Now you've got a quarterback that can overcome it. The next play after that timeout, the Breecehall bomb for 26 yards, and the Jets take the lead. Few other things I want to mention. I mentioned my 3 plays, but I want to mention a few other things in the second half. Irv Charles, for the first half, I thought was the MVP of the game. His tackling on special teams was amazing. That block punt later in the game was beautiful. The Jets started that drive on the 30-yard line of Tennessee, and I felt the Jets really had to take advantage of it. They're up 14-10, and I felt if they went up 21-10, I didn't think Tennessee would be able to come back at that point. I really didn't. They had to settle for the field goal. They only got to the 15-yard line, but it did extend the lead from 4 points to 7 points. Give the Titans credit. They come back with that crazy bomb to Ridley. Now, unlike some people, I'm not going to kill Sauce Gardner for this. He did have to turn around, but the coverage was tight. As long as you are running there in step with the receiver, I'm not too worried. You could coach things like turning around, things like that. But the speed, the catch-up speed is what you can't really that's what you can't coach. So Sauce did need to be more aware. It wasn't a great pass, I thought, by Levis. It just happened to fall in the right spot as Ridley was falling to the Nissan Stadium turf. And also on that touchdown drive, that is where Jermaine got hurt. And after that happened, I don't know about you, the air was about out of the room for me. I know the Jets were in the game. It was a tight game. But it felt like one of those, even if they win, it's going to feel sort of like a bit of a loss at the same time. Close. I'm not going to equate it to game 1 last year when Rodgers went down and the Jets beat Buffalo. But still, the Jets lost one of the most valuable pieces on defense. The last defensive end the Jets could lose was JJ. And now it's an Achilles injury, and we're about 99.9% sure he's out for the season. Just a terrible loss. But after the teams exchanged punts a few times, the Jets get the ball for what would be the game-winning drive. This drive was crazy, and I want to break this down. So the Jets get it with about a little over 8.5 minutes to go. 2 passes give them a 3rd and 1, and Aaron Rodgers throws deep to Garrett Wilson for 26 yards. The way Garrett contorted his body and turned himself to the right to position himself to make that catch was amazing. Now it's a 1st and 10 on the 39-yard line. Breecehall promptly gets slammed in the backfield for a loss of 6 as Ty Conklin misses the block. So that was a big blow. And then the Jets have to take another timeout, or they would have taken a delay of game. Now they're down to 1 timeout in the second half. Very frustrating. Now I'm going to give you sort of like a bonus play, a bonus 4th play, and that was Aaron Rodgers hitting Mike Williams for the first catch of his Jets career for 19 yards. Enormous. And Awuzie, the Tennessee cornerback, had very, very tight coverage. But we talked about when Mike Williams came to the Jets, he was going to make those contested catches, those long arms, those big hands. Well, that's exactly what we saw. But I felt CBS, they were just rushing so much to get to the next play. We didn't really get a chance to appreciate it. I want to make sure that play gets recognized as it should. Great job by Mike Williams. Very good throw by Aaron Rodgers. And again, that's another example. The Jets made a near mistake. That loss for 6 yards, you would have felt like that was the end of the drive, but this offense can overcome it. And then 1st and 10 on the 26-yard line, 6-yard pass to Breece, and then comes the Braelonallen run right for 20 yards. The game winner, Rucker, Moses, AVT opened the hole. And then the Jets take the 24-17 lead. Tennessee does come down the field. Will McDonald, credit to him, the final of his 3 sacks on the next to last play of the game. And on the final play, Tony Adams breaks up the final pass to Tyler Boyd. That's it. Jets get to 1-1. Good feeling. A couple of key numbers here I want to throw out. Jets took 7 penalties in the first half. It was really 8. One was offsetting. But they did not take a penalty in the second half. So huge. You don't think about it when penalties aren't being taken. You think about them when they happen. But the fact that the Jets went from 8 penalties called to 0, first half to second half, huge. The turnover differential, obvious. 2 turnovers to 0. Will McDonald, 3 sacks. There were people on the radio and on the internet this week talking about where is Will McDonald? Is he doing anything? He's been showing flashes, ever since he's been here. They've just been very intermittent. But once JJ went out, he had to step up, and he did. 3 sacks, way to go. And speaking of people who stepped up, let's give Jamiensherwood a little bit of love at linebacker. CJ goes out for the game. Sherwood steps into that spot. 12 tackles, a team high. Quincy Williams, 9 tackles as well. I thought the Jets defense looked actually more aggressive and a little bit faster with CJ out. Now, there is talk he might be able to play Thursday against New England. You know what? Let him rest. I am good with Jamiensherwood. I really am. With the offensive numbers, Aaron Rodgers goes 18 for 30, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Had some great throws, had some throws that were a little bit off. I thought when he was on the run, the throws were always a little bit low or a little bit to the side. I think that's the one part of the game that he's got to, refine a little bit. That might be the last part of his game where you have to knock the rust off. We saw some brilliant throws, but some of those short checkdowns were just not good, especially when he was throwing to his right on the run. Garrett Wilson, 57 yards. Breecehall, 14 carries, 62 yards, 7 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown. Braelonallen, 7 for 33 in the rushing department, 2 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown. It was great to see a couple of things. First of all, Braelonallen being used early on in the game, that was very encouraging. He wasn't used just in garbage time. And we also saw the Jets use a 2 running back plan several times during this game. Last week, the Jets never had more than 1 running back in the game at a given time. This time you saw situations where both were in the game at the same time, and I like that. I thought the offensive line as well was very good. The Titans had just 3 hits on Aaron Rodgers on 32 dropbacks. I thought they played a much better game than they did against San Francisco. Credit to them. All right, now let's recap my bold predictions. So every week I do a video. I make 5 bold predictions for the game, and I decided I'm going to start recapping those on the game recap video. I predicted the Jets would have under 80 rushing yards. It certainly looked like that would be the case. They were on pace for 32 rushing yards at halftime. They wound up turning it on in the second half. They got 101 as a team. I predicted the Jets would get multiple roughing the passer penalties. They got 1, but they did not get 2. I predicted the Titans would score 2 rushing touchdowns. They did not. They got 1. I predicted the Jets defense would score a touchdown. They did not do that, but they had 4 sacks, 2 takeaways. They made some big plays on this Titans offense. And I did predict, I got this right, the Jets would score in the last 5 minutes of the game to take the lead or put the game away, and they did with that final touchdown of the game. My final score prediction was Jets 26, Titans 17. I picked that game within 2 points. So that feels pretty good. Now, just as far as where this team is going forward, New England's coming off a loss in overtime to Seattle. Very, very glad that Seattle won that game. But we know that New England is a scrappy, tough team. It's not going to be easy playing against them. And the Jets still have a ways to go. JJ going out, devastating. Hassan Reddick's price probably just went up another $5 million. It's probably going to take $25 million a year to get him in the building. And I don't want to hear people saying, well, Will was so great, we don't need Reddick. No, you need every pass rusher you can get. You do. I'm not interested in having just a good enough defense. I want to be able to make as big an impact at every position as possible. But you know what? From an offensive perspective, I'm glad that they play New England on Thursday. I'm glad it's a short turnaround at home. I thought the offense made some major strides as the game went on. It's not fully humming yet, but you saw players like Mike Williams and Braelonallen step up. make some big plays. I thought the offensive line got better and better and better. Malachi Corley caught a pass. I want to see more from him, but I like that it's a short turnaround coming off a win. So Jets are 1-1. I feel good about it. The JJ injury is the one thing that's got me feeling really down right now. But you know what? The opportunities are there. Got New England, got Denver, and now all of a sudden that Minnesota game in London looks pretty darn difficult as the Vikings knock off San Francisco today. There were some crazy games. The Ravens getting beat by the Raiders. I mean, who saw that one coming? Boy, I'm glad I went with the Chargers in my knockout pool. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll be doing the live show on Wednesday. That'll be like a full game preview for Jets versus Patriots. So definitely tune in for that. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. And I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.